Thank you. It's raining here in Atlanta, and I'm sorry if my hair looks a mess. I was outside.
Listen, my hair always looks a mess, and it's never raining in LA.
Well, it looks like you're in a cozy spot there with that the green background. Got that jacket on that it seems to be out of season.
I know it's like probably 90 degrees out, but the AC was on in here, and I'm like, why am I so cold?
That's such a that's such a my AC's been out for like 2 weeks. They finally fixed it, I think, like 2 days ago, Wednesday, and it was the most. It was so frustrating to just be like sweating all the time and gross and yeah. Now I'm happy that I'm cold all the time because now I'm leaving it on like freezing because that's what we deserve.
Yeah, I actually can't handle no like when I first moved out to LA, because it'll be like 90 degrees in December,
Mhm.
but it would be like I was going on a lot of auditions when I first came to LA, and I'd have to like put a change of shirt in my Volvo because I had this old Volvo that had no AC and leather
Yeah.
seats, and I would just be like sweating when I showed up.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I didn't get the part.
That the only reason. What did
Yeah.
you like the auditioning process? Is that are you still doing that?
No, I've kind of opted out of it. I only go if it's like if they ask for me.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's not my forte.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
It's
only
hard to stand up, you just
yes.
you're like wait, you're like, why aren't you laughing?
The only like, the exposure I have to auditioning is like essentially what La La Land is, the beginning of that movie where Emma Stone, she spills the coffee on herself and she has to wear the big parka inside to do the audition and like other things like that. So I mean, yeah, the way you describe it, it sounds exactly as it is, and it sounds like it's the worst thing in the entire world.
It's so much sadder than that scene too, because you show up in a room, and a lot of times it's really, I've had some shady auditions where you're going into warehouses and there's like holes in the wall, and you're like, is this the
Mhm.
way to the audition?
Yeah.
And then you get in there, and the waiting room has, 15 people that look like you.
Right.
It's just like you're like, oh, okay, well, if any of these people took acting classes, they're gonna get it over me.
Did you so you didn't take any acting classes? You just did you always start in stand up or how did you get your start in the industry?
Yeah, it's been I started as an improviser, but that lasted, I think I did improv for like 3 more months than I did stand up. I pretty quickly got into stand up. And I never really, yeah, I didn't really take the acting route because I can act like I'm myself, and I guess I could do a bit of like funny characters, but that world is like a whole. I always felt for actors when they would go to an audition and they wouldn't get it because it's so hard to book something, and then they go back and they just like don't have anything to kind of go fall back on. But like I could
Yeah.
always go and do open mics or shows, and at least feel like I'm getting some sort of something out there into the world.
And that kind of extends into the show Mole. It's yeah, I didn't see it because it was a live thing and I wasn't
Yeah.
invited. But I think that's great that you can put together not just like a stand-up set, but like a show on its own and develop something and make this project into reality, put it on and have a couple hundred people see it, and that's what it is. It lives in that space, and that's what you're able to do as a comedian, as a performer. Just make that live show and make it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And Mole is like a special show because, I think with stand up, everyone's like, well, what are you working towards? Are you working towards an album or, a special? And Mole is kind of lives, I don't know if it could be a special, like
Mm.
maybe, but it's very much made for the stage because I'm telling jokes and stories. to the crowd, but as I'm doing that, there's like this huge screen behind me, and I've like drawn the entire show as well. And so there's like an hour of visual art and then me speaking. And yeah, it's fun to make something where you're like, this is made for the stage. I don't have any other goals with it.
Did you? I've seen a lot of your drawings on Instagram, and it's very not. This is not a knock. Very simplistic, so it's very
Yeah, yeah.
approachable. And
Mhm.
I can scroll through and like it's like candy, you know, just like I can have a handful of Skittles. Like this is my handful. I can have a handful of Skittles and eat everything. Just like I could just scroll through and go, oh, this is good. This one and keep going. When did you start drawing that art?
I started drawing that about 8 years ago. I was, I've always drawn, but then I took a really long break, and then I started with that character, and I wanted, even when I was drawing the very first one, I wanted it to be super simple, and it looks way, like more like beta, like the very first versions of it, and then I kind of like made it a little more, little better for the eye, but I like art that I feel like people can imitate. Like if, a kid wanted to draw the Blair character, they could.
Mhm.
I feel like I always drew Garfield as a child, and so I like, and for me, like as a writer, I wanted to be able to have the joke speak for itself. So it's like the art doesn't have to be like so intricate. It's the art is simple, and then hopefully, the joke is technically simple, but that's what makes it special, hopefully, is both of those combined.
I wish I used to draw when I was a child, when I like from like fifth grade or third or fourth grade until middle of high school. I drew these comics of a superhero, and his whole thing was he was a superhero, but he was also incredibly stupid. And they look exactly the same. Like even if I drew today, like that character would be that. And then I interviewed a couple years ago the director of SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
And to start out the interview, I thought I'd break the ice with a drawing of SpongeBob that was so bad. It was just like a square and circles. He did not laugh, and it did not play in my favor. So at least you have, you have the stand-up talent, and then you also have the drawing talent with the jokes. So that works for you. For everyone else, not so much.
Yeah. Well, why did you stop drawing?
It was I really like a story, and I was
Mhm.
and in these comics I'd done, maybe 400 or so like comics, and I just thought uh it got to be a little bit difficult to continue to operate on them. Like I can like they're all in that closet behind me, and I can go back there, pick out one, and or pick out like I have a list of ideas that for the same comic, and it's just hard to continue. I would love to to start over, and draw it digitally and see what
Right.
comes of that. But the thing is just having to start it, and I don't have the kind of chutzpah for that. Like I can do this, but that I
Right.
have to work. I have to build myself up into.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, especially if you're doing full comics,
Hmm.
it's just, and that's why this made sense because I go, "Hey, I'm gonna do this once. I'm gonna do at least one when I wake up."
Hmm.
And it helped me get out of part of my show, Mole, is about me starting to draw again and it getting me out of like this depression. And because I mean, it makes sense. It's like when you're drawing, you're living right then. Like I'm living in the moment when I'm drawing. And even when I'm on stage, sometimes I'm not living in the moment because I know the words so well that like I find myself thinking about things as I'm talking, which is like that just shows you how, ADD I can be. But like
Yeah.
yeah. So giving myself a task, I said, you know what, this isn't, I have no goal with this, which helps me a lot. Just saying like
Okay.
my only goal is to draw one a day and then I'll like post it. But there's no, at that time there was no, oh, I want to have a book. I want this to be like an animated show. I was just like, this is for me and for my friends.
And when did that extend into I've watched the animated shorts from TBS. So when did that extend into that world? Was that easy for you to go, I'm going to make these 3-minute shorts, or was it kind of difficult for you to want to do something like that?
It was, no, I think at that point it had become I had already had the book deal at that
Mhm.
point, and so I was like I knew that I was already expanding this into something else, and, um, and I wanted it to be an animated show, so TBS gave me, like it was, like, independent, like, they gave me the money, and
Mm.
then I made them with my friend Hank Thompson, and we just like sat in his room and we like he had just learned to animate. So it was very, we were we were like learning as we went. And so and then from there I got Chelsea Handler on board and we wrote like I wrote a half hour script.
Mm.
Um and that hasn't gone anywhere yet, but it's like maybe it will at some
Yes.
point. But yeah, it's easy to expand her character into like a lot of people describe her as like an older Daria. So I love writing for a character that's like pessimistic in a world like that's just, a lot of seemingly positive influencers,
Mhm.
that she can kind of like we could just write her in contrast to them. It's super fun.
The older Daria is exactly as I would do, and from what I've seen. It's Were there any influences that you aped from when you were starting out with this character?
I mean, at that point, I don't know if I had any, but I mean, I loved Garfield.
Mhm.
You can see the love for Garfield in it, sort of, and then Kathy, I thought was amazing growing up, because that's like truly my career ambition would be I I can draw cartoons and then go on as a guest as a late night guest because that's what the creator of Kathy would do.
Yeah.
And she would be so funny like on Jay Leno and whatnot. And I'm like, that's the life. You get to go be funny for 5 minutes and
Mhm.
then just draw for a living.
Yeah. That's a good goal, because that reminds me a lot of, Colbert and Seth Meyers. They have, like, Myers is like very proud of like having authors on, and Colbert has a lot of business people on. So I think we need to
Mhm.
bring back more cartoonists. Like we should have the and including like the New York Times crosswords people and regular cartoonists, and yeah, I would love to see more of those people, even though they're slightly above, regular people who do regular jobs, and then they're slightly in the middle of entertainers, and yeah, I would love that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, they're funny in a different way. Like you can get some pretty odd I mean obviously there's some odd comedians, but I've met a lot of odd cartoonists where I would just like be completely comfortable trying to pick their brain for 3 hours.
Yeah. It's and speaking of the odd comedian, your stand up, I want to talk about one joke in particular
Yeah.
that I truly I've thought about for years, and then at one point I thought I wrote it myself. It's the pulling the dad sticker off the car joke.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. I think about that joke minimum one time a week, and because you'll see them driving around with the dad sticker.
Yeah.
But my elevation of that joke was, and then because that's again, at some point I thought I written that,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
my elevation of the joke is, they get into a crash, and then you wonder if everybody's all right, but then one sticker falls off. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love
Yeah,
your
that's
joke. I love your take on it. It's the divorce thing. So
yeah. It's so it's when you do a joke because I did that on Conan and so I didn't do that joke like I haven't done that joke on stage since then, I think.
Mhm.
And I'm preparing for an album right now and you that's exactly what you're doing, like how you just elevated the joke. I'm like, how can I tag this joke more? And so I'm sure the joke will get even, I'm hoping it'll get even better. But yeah, I was obsessed with those stickers and I did have merch at one point, which was Blair, and then it said just me underneath it. And I made the stickers, and a couple of my friends, people bought them, but it was like, yeah, I made the just me sticker so people could. I should bring those back actually.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. People love buying things and like if they especially if they love you, they will take that and show you off. And yeah, I think you could definitely do that again.
Yeah.
Now are you still a WNBA fan?
Oh yeah, but I
Mm,
mean, actually, my wife just got me for my birthday. She got me season tickets to the Sparks next year. So
wow.
next season is going to be a big season for me. Big
Yeah.
year of me just sitting at crypto arena
Yeah.
um, with the Sparks. But yeah, I love. Really early on, I was trying to get WNBA jokes in there, and at the beginning, it was me trying to show the pay gap. But I felt like it sounded like I was shitting on the WNBA, and so I had to switch it around because I didn't want it to, like, I'm in support of the WNBA and I wanted to talk about it on stage. And so that's when I came up with the song. So I was like, well, what if I like try to teach the crowd, all like tell them, if you know the WNBA teams, like you will be like, everybody will love you, like every female will love you, anyone in the WNBA will love you. So that was just me trying to teach one. I think one time on stage I was like, let me see if I could teach you guys all of the teams, and then I put it into that song that you would learn things, memorizing song when you were a kid
Yeah.
to yeah, so it was, it'd be like LA Sparks and New York Liberty, and then I constructed that, and that was honestly just to try to see if I could teach people the teams.
And you know what? It's even catchier now, especially because to that tune. And yeah,
Right.
I like the WNBA. I admittedly I don't watch it as much as the NBA proper, but I do have friends and
Honestly,
people.
me too. Yeah.
Yeah, like and also it's hard too because it's like if you don't have cable or streaming cable or whatever, then you can't watch it unless it's going to be on ABC or NBC or whatever it's going to be on. But I think this season has been more publicized than seasons of the past because now I know that, well, obviously the pay gap, like I knew that like years ago, but then it's who's
Yeah.
retiring, who's leaving, who's deciding not to continue in the career aspect of the WNBA. It's good that we can continue to talk about these, but like we need to elevate them in the same respects that we have those the guys in the regular NBA.
Oh yeah, and a big part of it I think was like, Kobe was a real, he's a huge proponent on the WNBA and women's basketball. And and honestly, there's like these photos of him from you know, 4 years ago or whatever, where he's wearing the WNBA hoodie, and then the
Mm,
WNBA hoodie became like this thing that like other guys wanted to wear. And so with the help of the guys in the NBA, the WNBA becomes more popular. And especially if some of them will just come out and say, hey, stop trolling the WNBA and stop trolling female athletes. Like, I think that will be huge when like LeBron can be like, hey, just stop trolling
mhm.
them. Like, this is, you know, this isn't about you saying like that you could beat any WNBA player. But
Right.
anyway, I'm obsessed. I think I love basketball. I'll watch, if it's on TV, I'll be watching like high school championships. I just love watching the game. And I watch, the Bulls have not been great. But I watched almost all the Laker.
Yeah.
I watch more NBA games too, but also there's so many more NBA games.
And there's so many more chances to watch them. Like they're all, if they're sometimes they're all on at the same time. And
Yeah.
you have to pick and choose. Like, okay, I'll go to this game. I'll go to this game. I wanted to know, what team would you be on for WNBA if you could choose if you were still playing?
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to be on the Sparks because I live here, so that'd just be convenient. But if not, I'm going to the Chicago Sky and I'm going to
Yeah.
play with Candace Parker. who was just outside of my conference in high school because we had heard when I was playing because I'm from outside of Chicago, and Candace, like someone had said, "Hey, there's a girl who can like dunk." And we were like, "What?" Like, yeah, there's a girl in Naperville who can dunk, and we're just like, okay, so we thought we were bad now, and now
Yeah.
we're like, people are dunking. We're not gonna have a great season.
And you're from Normal, Illinois, correct?
Yeah, I'm from Normal, and then when I was 12, I moved up to a place called Oak Park, which is outside of Chicago.
Mm.
And I went to high school at Oak Park River Forest High School. It's a bit of a mouthful.
Did you perform stand up in Chicago at all?
Yeah, I started in Denver. I was there for like I want to say a year, and then I moved back home to Chicago, and I was there for probably 4 years. And I was like very deeply in the scene there. And then me and a bunch of other Chicago comics moved out in the same year out to LA.
Mm, mm.
Mhm.
And so you've planted your seeds in LA. You've got you're a LA fan, Laker fan. You got Sparks fan. Are you there to stay? Is that where you're going to build the rest of your career?
Well, I probably would have left because it's not that I failed LA, but I feel like I've done, you know what I mean? Where I'm like, I don't have to be in LA.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I think anyone else in my position would be like, let me try to do this somewhere else. Let me, move to a different city. But I married somebody from LA, and and then we had a kid. And I think that we just are stuck here. And it's a good place to be stuck, but I for sure would have been like, I'm going to New York because I can get more stage time there.
Yeah.
So it's its own challenge trying to do stand up and live a life out here. But yeah, I've been out here for 10 years, so it's like I feel like a native.
Yeah. You got to basically
Yeah.
have to buy a burial plot now.
I know. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get buried in hopefully whatever that famous one is called. Forest Lawn.
Yes, yeah, that'll be perfect. Um, Mo, I appreciate you for spending time with me today. This has been very fun. Very
Yes, so great to meet you.
yeah, it's I'm glad I could finally crack down on that the pulling off the sticker joke. Oh my God. Because I truly
Yeah.
thought, yes, I wrote that myself. And then my mind was rejiggered and I went, that's it. That's where I heard it from. So when
Yeah.
oh, go on.
Oh, no, no. Yeah, it's just one of those it's one of those jokes I've heard a couple since. It's like parallel thinking because
Mhm.
I think everybody looks at those stickers when there's like 15 on the back of a car and you're like, "Huh."
It's too many.
I'm like, "That's too many cats. That's too many children."
When do you think that you're gonna be done with the album?
The album I'm gonna be actually probably October 7th. I will be recording it in Chicago at the Lincoln Lodge.
Wow.
And and then so however long it takes to put that out, let's see how many edits I have to do on myself. So hopefully by the end of the year. Um and yeah, I'm still trying to find a name for it. So open to names.
Hey, no worries, of
The
course.
title.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what? Congratulations on Mole. Congratulations on working on
Thank
the
you.
album. You're doing a great job, even if nobody says you're doing a fantastic job. And thanks again for talking to me today.
Thank you.